Welcome back to College Football Addiction, Locked on Ducks, Locked on College Football. Spencer McLaughlin with us today. How's it going, man?
Ready for college football, always.
Yeah. 2 weeks left, and then a month and a half.
Don't say things like that out loud. It makes me sad.
I want to cherish these moments while we have them.
I know, me too.
I don't know if we thought this game, the game has been on the schedule for a while, but USC, since losing to Notre Dame, has taken care of business and done a good job this year of making this game matter, and a good comeback last week. But for the Oregon side of things, how safe are they? Like, this game matters, especially with Washington the last week of the year. They can't go 0-2, but are they relatively safe, or is this just a must win at all costs?
I can't say all costs. I haven't seen the committee yet leave out a 10-2 Big Ten SEC team. I have seen them do it with an ACC and Big 12 team who are perceived to have weaker schedules. So then that will come down, if Oregon were to lose one of these next two games, to what do they value on Oregon's schedule? Are they seeing that Penn State win as a top 5 road win, or as a team that's got one win in Big Ten play? Mm-hmm. It seems like it's kind of in the middle, but leaning more towards the team that's got one Big Ten victory this year, and it's over winless Michigan State in Big Ten play. So I think that for Oregon, you obviously internally you approach it as a must win, and you don't leave anything to chance. And 11-1, missed the Big Ten championship game. I don't think there's a person alive that's being reasonable that would argue that Oregon shouldn't be in the playoff. At 10-2, I think it's more likely than not. I do not believe that it is 100% certain, because Iowa lost to USC and because Penn State has fallen off a cliff, and you haven't had any other teams, really surge into the top 25 that you look back and go, oh, wow, that win's looking a little bit better. Like the Northwestern win looks better than it did at the time. That doesn't mean it looks like a super high quality win. Right. So I think how the committee views that stuff, and we only have 1 year of data to go off of, which is not a lot. It's one of the things I remember talking about in the offseason, TJ, and Locked On College Football, about how, we are so excited, some people are, I'm not, to expand the playoff again. We got to get to 16. We got to go to 24. And I'm sitting here going, we just got to 12. Could we see how this goes for, could we give it half a decade? The other model, 14, we gave it a decade, right? I think there were 11 iterations of the 14 play. Can we give this one 5 years?
Yeah.
Everyone was just, we got to expand it again. I'm like, we just did. We just increased the number of teams by 300%. What are we doing? So anyway, that's something that's been popping in my head a lot recently with regards to the playoff, because, this happened last year. Well, it's 1 year of data. Can you go off of 1 year and say anything definitively? I don't think you can.
I think so 2 thoughts there. One, the same people will also much malign the blowouts. That won't get worse when we go to 16 in the first round, when you start letting more ACC teams in, and more teams that maybe do or don't deserve to get in this thing. The other thought that I had was, you're so right about the one data point. And even when we did have 11 years of data, and obviously I wear this as a bitter cross, that didn't change the committee from, right or wrong, changing up the entire way that they viewed deserving versus best in the final year of it. So you could even have 10 years of data points for the 12-team playoff, and there could be a situation where they say, yeah, we're going to steer in a different direction here. Because they did that. The final, again, whether you think that's right or wrong, watching this, that's exactly what happened. They changed from deserving to best to craft what they wanted to do. And so, yeah, the idea of changing it after 2 years, which we probably will, we cannot stand to stay still with anything in this sport. We probably will change it. So on this matchup specifically, what about, tell me about, just thoughts on Maiyava, thoughts on their offense. Oregon's got a good defense, but just thoughts on the way that they've played lately and how they kind of match up against a really good Oregon Big Ten defense.
Yeah, I think this is a phenomenal matchup of best on best, and that's the USC receivers against the Oregon secondary. And I actually think the best unit for Oregon this year consistently and coming into the year has been the defensive line, which helps your secondary play better. But the secondary is pops. Brandon Finney is not just a freshman All-American. He's an All-American, and Dylan Thieneman, the Purdue transfer at safety, has been great. The other corner spot, little bit of a revolving door, but overall they've gotten solid play over there. Aaron Flowers at safety been really good. So you insert on the other side two receivers that are as good of a wide receiver duo as there is in all of college football, and you've got a best on best showdown, and let's see who goes out and wins. And sometimes when Kevin Durant's in a 1v1 with Draymond Green, Draymond gets the better of him and Durant misses the shot, and sometimes Durant is just better and makes the play and you tip your cap. And I think that's what you're going to see a lot throughout the course of this game. Is it's going to be back and forth. Sometimes Finney's going to lock down Mekhi Lemon. Sometimes Mekhi Lemon's going to shake free. And I think the chess match between Tosh Lupoy, the defensive coordinator for Oregon, and Lincoln Riley, who calls the plays for USC, is going to be really fascinating. How often does Brandon Finney go up in a 1v1 with Jacoby Lane? Do they just scheme around? Do they say, hey, let's put Jacoby Lane on anybody else for contested catches because Finney's been really good this year? Do they, try to get receivers on linebackers a lot? How does Oregon counter that? I think that's going to be really, really fun to watch.
Hey, I'll get right back to the video, but first I do want to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper. Make sure that you are on the Sleeper app. We appreciate all of their support this football season. Use our code CFA for a 100% match up to $100. We will play the more or less game on Wednesday on the Power 2 live here on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed and don't miss it. Make sure that you've already deposited and you're already good to go. While you're doing holiday shopping for everybody else, make sure you're on the Sleeper app taking care of yourself too. Check their terms and conditions because terms of use do apply. We appreciate Sleeper for their support. On the other side, I know it's Iowa, and our perception of Iowa is not some high-flying offense, but just thoughts on USC's defense. It's certainly not what Lincoln is known for, and they've had their struggles at times this year. But is this a defense that you think Oregon can move the ball with some efficiency up and down the field?
Yeah, I do. I think, they're going to study the Notre Dame game tape a lot. They went for over 300 on the ground against this USC defense in the rain. We'll see what the weather looks like at Autzen Stadium on Saturday during the day, or this game might be a little later at night for my own personal schedule. I hope it's earlier in the day. But I think that for Oregon, their offense is playing at a really high level, and they've shown an ability to do whatever is needed. They can run for explosives. They can pick up short yardage situations on the ground. They can hit a short and intermediate passing game. I think the downfield passing game has been there. It's not perfect, but it has definitely been there. You saw that last week against Minnesota, who has a good defense on Friday night at Autzen. And I think this USC defense is much improved. I don't want to sound like I'm coming on here and just trashing on them. I don't think they're quite as good as their numbers indicate, but they have made tangible progress. I don't think even last year's USC team wins that Iowa game last week. I don't think last year's USC team wins that Nebraska game on the road. That they have absolutely improved. And I don't know if there'll be some Trojan fans that feel like it's playoff or bust. I don't think it is. They're on track to match my expectation for them exactly during the year. I had them going 9-3, and I think they're going to go 9-3 when the regular season winds down here. But I just think that for USC, the progress has been tangible, and now you get to see how far that progress has really gone. Because Oregon, whatever people want to say about their schedule and all that, it is a really good team. They are deep. They are talented. They've got NFL guys all over the place on both sides of the ball. And if USC goes into Autzen Stadium and wins this game, that will be a flag planting sort of moment that declares that USC is really back to being what they were before. And there are obviously on-field implications here, but there are some off-field implications as well, I think, amongst the two fan bases and also on the recruiting trail. This is a really big matchup because Oregon has become the premier recruiter out west for quite a while. That didn't used to be the case. USC is trying to change that now with the way they have poured into their high school recruiting efforts in the class of 2026. So I think this game has just got so many implications. USC's playoff hopes are on the line. Oregon's playoff hopes probably on the line. I think Oregon could more easily win this game and then lose to Washington and make the playoff than if they lose this game and then beat Washington next week. Because what you would have there is not just USC at 10-2 with a head-to-head on your home field that's going to give them the resume boost as it should, because head-to-head results need to matter unless there's something like truly disastrous on the resume, which there isn't. Like Illinois is a respectable team. They're not great, but they're a respectable loss for USC, and Indiana is, of course, really good. So you would not just have a 10-2 team that has a reason to be ahead of you, but you would also then be lacking that ranked that win over a team that is currently ranked. So right. I think that if Oregon wins this game, I'd say I'm 70% confident they're in the playoff. If they lose and beat Washington, it falls. It feels like a toss-up at that point, and you might need some help elsewhere in the college football landscape.
Yeah, there's a big 10-2 logjam all the way from, you mentioned head-to-head, the Miami Notre Dame situation that
I will
we
point out
have.
that we have had this situation in playoffs past and in conference championship races in the past, and the chaos has been easy to foresee, and it hasn't arrived to its fullest extent.
Yeah.
I'll just and that doesn't mean there aren't chaotic games. I mean, you don't have 4 10-2 teams with no head-to-heads whose resumes you have to compare. And
Yeah.
I think that's definitely possible here. It usually works itself out, but maybe this is the year that it doesn't.
Yeah. It almost always does. Vandy drops to a Tennessee, Miami drops to a Pittsburgh.
Vandy's tough.
They are. They're really tough. Their best win of the year is probably going to be Tennessee if it happens. Which is barely a ranked team.
And by the way, by the metrics of what this discussion has been in the last couple of weeks, that would mean Vanderbilt doesn't hold a win over a ranked team.
Yeah.
Because they lost to Alabama, they lost to Texas, but then their wins would be over Tennessee, who at 8-4, there's no way they can be ranked.
Nope.
Because they're being ranked on their losses, and 4 is too many without any high quality wins. And then on the flip side of that, you've got Vanderbilt's next best win probably being Missouri on the road, who maybe they win this week and upset Oklahoma. Bo Prabula might be back, and if he is, I think Missouri's a good team when Bo Prabula is there. When he's not, they're obviously not quite as strong. But yeah, Vanderbilt's got the resume, we'll call it issue debate as well, and it's Vanderbilt. They're fighting brand bias there
for sure. The same way Miami's there. Notre Dame's there. There's a lot of the 10-2. Now, I don't see them ever putting Notre Dame out. Like, I don't think there's anything that could.
In which case, Miami would have to be in at 10-2.
I agree with that. I think Miami should be. My personal opinion is that the head-to-head should matter there. And Miami's losses aren't as bad as they're making them out to be. I hate the idea of quality losses meaning more than quality wins. But I think the brand.
Yeah, I think we need to wait and see what the playoff committee does tonight with everyone. And by the way, this same discussion applies to the Group of 5 debate as well.
Oh, without a doubt. There's no doubt.
With South Florida losing, okay, you drop them back and they have to be behind others. But Navy's best win is South Florida, but Navy lost to North Texas. So really you should be looking at the top 3 being North Texas, Tulane, and James Madison. I don't think they should be in that order because Tulane has 2 Power 4 wins. Think whatever you want of Northwestern and Duke. At least one's going to be a bowl team. And from a resume standpoint, that has to mean more. They put 3 Power 4 teams on their schedule.
Yeah.
And James Madison has 1 and they lost to Louisville, who's good, but not great. They were competitive, but it wasn't North Texas's best wins are against Group of 5s. And I just think that, and James Madison's schedule is worse. Like if I were ranking, which I have, the 3 Group of 5 resumes, that the top 3 right now, I'd have Tulane number 1. I'd have North Texas number 2. I'd almost put South Florida 3rd and James Madison 4th. James Madison's schedule is terrible.
Atrocious. Yeah.
Like the Sun Belt is very clearly the 3rd best Group of 5 league. It's not a bad conference. It is not as good as the Mountain West. It is not. I'd almost put San Diego State over James Madison. So they play Washington State this week, which is unfortunately, it pains me to say, a Group of 5 game. It's not a Power 4 matchup. It's not a Power 4 roster, but it's at least a respectable opponent. James Madison needs to win that one big, but because their record's going to look shiny, I think that might get the Liberty treatment from a couple of years ago. But I think they would also get the Liberty outcome in the playoff, which is a splattering by a real roster. On
to USC, I'll finish up with this. What worries you the most about this game?
The ability for Jaden Mayava to keep drives going on 3rd down. Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane are just such good receivers, and their chemistry has been really good. Lincoln Riley's a very creative play caller, but Mayava can run. Mayava can make all the throws. Oregon's got to rattle his cage with pressure, and they've got to turn him over. If they do those 2 things, Oregon will be just fine. I won't say no worries, but USC's also dealing with a couple injuries. Kamari Ramsey might be out of this game on defense, who's maybe the most underrated safety west of the Mississippi or maybe in the entire country. And I've just watched him for several years. He's a really, really good player. And if he's not there, that's a significant loss in both the run and pass game. And you have to be at full strength against this Oregon allotment of weapons, which won't be at full strength. They're not going to get Evan Stewart back. They're probably not getting DeCorian Moore back. Gary Bryant Jr. may or may not play. And Oregon still has a bunch of weapons. They didn't have those guys last week against Minnesota, and they put up 42 points. They could have put up 56 if they felt like it, but the game was over. So I think that if Oregon can get off the field on third down, that's going to be a huge thing in this game because Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane will just keep drives going. They will play really good situational football, and you could get USC into a bunch of 3rd and 8s, and they wind up converting because Mekhi Lemon or Jacoby Lane have made a spectacular catch. So I think that's where Oregon's got to be successful.
I like Oregon in this one. I do think it'll be fun. 3:30 Eastern time.
As of now,
yeah, the weather.
Yes, because that kick time is potentially getting flexed.
So I scratched that from the record. I'm not going to edit it out.
As of now, it is 1:30 Pacific, but at the moment, there is a possibility that it gets changed. I think it will stay at 1:30, but we'll find out.
What is your prediction? Not for the time, but for a score.
I don't have one yet. It's too early in the week. I think Oregon wins, but I gotta dive into USC even harder before I get my score prediction. That line was fluttering around 8.5. If Oregon can turn over Jaden Mayava at least one time, if not twice, whether it be a fumble or a pick, then I think Oregon will win by more than 10. But if Jaden Mayava plays a clean game, he could, I think, do enough. And USC's run game has been underrated this year.
I don't have a score either, but I'll go by. I'll say USC covers. Give me the Ducks by 7. So
like a 31-24 kind of game.
That'd be good. Yeah,
I can see that. I can see that.
Where can people follow you? Where can they find your content, Spencer?
Locked On Ducks and Locked On College Football is on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts, free and available over there. And I'm on Twitter at @SMcLaughlinCFB. If you ever want to just hop in my mentions and tell me I'm a complete and utter buffoon, hey, that's your prerogative.
Appreciate you, man.
Always.